So here's an update to the video I did earlier, which was titled, Would I Be the A-Hole If I Left My Fiancé Destitute? This is about the guy who's been with his girl's fiancé now for a while now, and he came home and overheard her having a conversation with her friend saying that she settled for him. And you remember from the story that she doesn't work. She had to have a BMW, which he paid for. She lives in one of his houses. This guy's done very well for himself. He owns multiple houses, beach house, all that, which is awesome. And he's realizing I pretty much can't be married to someone like this who's settling for me, because nobody wants to be settled for. And I said flat out, this chick is using him. That, if you recall, she had dated a lot of toxic guys, translation bad boys, Chad and Tyrone, and then found a nice guy. And I said, this is what women do. They'll roll in the hay with the bad boys for a long time, realize those guys aren't going to be marriage material. They'll see the clock is ticking on their age, getting close to 30, and they want to have that ring on their finger. So then they go find the nice guy who's done well for himself and will be happy to have a pretty girl on his arm. Problem is that typically, once they marry that guy, that's when her real colors come out. The sex slows down or comes to a screeching halt. Eventually, she may start cheating, or at the very least be very just unpleasant to be around. And it's only married time before she cheats or open marriage, and they divorce, and she gets his assets. Now, is that always the case? No. But the point is, it ain't pretty. You don't want a girl that's settling for you, who would not give you the time of day if you didn't have those resources. So this guy was pretty much ready to kick her to the curb. So we're having an update to see what he does. He says here, Hi everyone. Thank you everyone for your advice and kind words. Here is the update. I talked to Jay. I told her how I overheard her talking, how she is settling for me. I told her how that felt and what kind of mood I was in afterwards. She had tears rolling down her face as I was telling her how I felt. Of course. She didn't say anything for a bit. Then she just said that I'm sorry. It was true when we started dating. She just heard from a mutual friend that I was great, and she thought she'd give me a chance. Translation, her friend said, this guy's got money, he's got houses, he's got resources. He'll love to have you, give him a chance. And she's like, okay, ka-ching. She said in the beginning, it was about feeling safe and feeling like she could be supported and loved. Keyword supported. In the beginning, it was just being with someone that had their shit together and would be good for her. Eventually, she fell in love. She loved me dearly. No, she doesn't. She can convince herself she loves you. Maybe there's some level of love she's convinced herself. But in love, no. Lust, no. This didn't make me feel any better. I then told her about the text messages. This is when she got very angry. That I was an a-hole for going through her messages. Violation of policy. Betrayal of her trust. How dare I? I didn't set out to get her password, though. She's just extremely careless with it. She hits remember password on everything. When she types it out, it shows the password first. If you happen to be glancing at the screen, you know what it was. That is how I found out. I never thought I'd use it until this day. Eventually, after going on about reading her messages, she stopped and was sobbing for a minute. Finally, she goes, what do you want me to say? I can't help how I feel. Well, he can say, I can't help that I want to kick you to the curb. I wasn't the type that she'd go for before. She's still attracted to those types of guys. She's just older now and knows better. See? She's still attracted to those guys, and she will the second you say I do. No guy wants to be settled for, just like no woman wants to be settled for. And this guy, thank the Lord he posted this, got a lot of real good comments telling him reality. A lot of people don't like to hear reality. And that is why she settled with me. She loves me and wants to spend the rest of her life with me. Here's a question. If this guy didn't have the resources and wealth that he had, do you think she'd be with him right now, want to spend the rest of her life with him? I think not. And by the way, if you all recall, she has no job. She has a BMW that she had to have that she could not get on her own because she obviously didn't have the money, the credit, the income, all that. Now, that doesn't work for me, and I told her we had different ideas about what a relationship, especially marriage, were. The trust is broken for both of us. I went through her messages. She settled for me even though I'm not her type. This is where we go our separate ways. We agreed eventually that she stay with one of her friends. I'll move her stuff to the spare bedroom. When she finds a place, I will help her move. She can keep her car. I was just being an a-hole about leaving her destitute. She was crying from the moment we started talking to the moment we went our separate rooms. It wasn't easy seeing her like that. I wanted to go give her a hug and hold her, but it had to be done. When I closed the door to my room, that's when all the emotions washed over me. I was bawling the whole time. The sheets still smell like her, and either I couldn't or I didn't want to change them just then. I feel shitty, and I won't be okay for a while. Dude, number one, good for you for not crying or showing those emotions in front of her, because then she would see the weakness. Two, that's okay. You've been with her for a while. Okay, you're allowed to cry. You're allowed to be upset. Okay, I'm not some dickhead that says you should, no, I get that. But you also know, and you got to use your brain, you can't be with someone like this. You're being used. It's not going to work. But you will get over her. But I'm pretty certain I did the right thing. You did, brother. Doing the right thing isn't always easy. I read a lot of comments on the old post, and it shocked me. Truly, I was a little taken back by how many comments I saw from women that they said they did the same thing. See? It's extremely common. Most marriages out there are women settling for the guys. They settle for their current significant other after going through a bunch of guys that was more their type. Translation, the bad boys. To me, that's super fucked. Like, if your partner knows and you both cool with it, fine, I guess, live your life. But to me, that's gross. If you settle with your significant other for safety, comfort, and financial calculus, that's what an arranged marriage is. Yeah, but so many do that. Why do you think there's so many unhappy marriages out there? Because overwhelmingly that people settle. Now, there's a balance. And there's some people that think that I'm never going to settle for anything, and they think that they're so amazing and special. Usually this is women that do this. That they go their whole lives, nobody's good enough for them, and then they're alone and miserable. So there's a balance here. It says here, with arranged marriage, you want the benefits of arranged marriage, not any obligations of one. If you can pull it off, more power to you. But that's not something that interests me at all. I also read a whole bunch to get an Ironclad Prenup. I understand that thinking, but I don't want to do that. Maybe I'm crazy or old-fashioned, but starting a lifelong commitment with a plan on how to end it doesn't seem right to me. Smack! Dude, you're out of your fucking mind with the wealth you've built, and I'm sure you're going to continue building wealth because I get that's what entrepreneurs and businessmen do, to not have a prenup. Because later on down the road, this guy's obviously a relationship guy. He's going to meet some chick, and hopefully she's with him because of who he is, but I'm sure his wealth ain't going to hurt either. You have to have a prenup, okay? It is what it is. You're a businessman. You should understand that. I guess it's something I'll have to pay attention to more going forward. Thank you again, everyone. If there are any updates to be had, I'll post again, but that is it. Well, I will keep an update to see if anything goes on here, because it is possible she can come back to him with all the waterworks and everything, and he's having just a day where he misses her and he's questioning himself. And next thing you know, he's giving her a second chance. But he did the right thing. It's not going to work. And you all heard the first story, obviously earlier, and this one here, she's with him only for that. And she admits, I'm still attracted to those guys. At least she's honest, right? She could have bullshitted there. At least she's honest about that. But yeah, they're always attracted to bad boys. And if the foundation of the relationship is purely for security and safety and protection, it is only a matter of time before she's going to slip up and go with the bad boys, unless she truly is a good person and raised right. And given how things are in 2020s, I seriously doubt that. And of course, the way she was talking about with her friends, that tells you everything he needs to know. So he has to end it with her. So remember that, guys, when you're getting serious with that girl. And I mentioned this in the other video, and this is very important before I wrap this up, because we always want to learn something here in these videos as well as being entertained. When they get to a certain point, usually by their mid-20s and definitely by their late 20s, they're looking to settle, because they've been run through by the bad boys all throughout junior high, high school, and college in mid-20s. They realize then those guys are not going to be the type to settle down with. They're not going to provide, and eventually their biological clocks are ticking. They don't want to be 30 years old, not have a ring on their finger, or at least they want to be on the way to the altar. So they go out and they find the nice guy, the guy they normally would never give them the time of day to when they're younger. And if you're honest, you will recognize that. Except these guys that want to give the time of day to, usually, most of the time, are better off than the bad boys, Chad and Tyrone. And they got some resources, and all of a sudden they go out and they just scan the room like the Terminator, looking for Sarah Connor, and target acquired. They go to that nice guy, and they know that nice guy would be more than happy to have a pretty girl in his arm, because it's probably the first real pretty girl in his arm he's ever had, or one of the few, and it's easy target. End of story, and this is what you get. So you guys out there, just be careful about that. A lot of guys that watch me are really working hard to improve their lives, make something of themselves, and I'm telling you now, you're going to attract a lot of gals, and you will be tested. So mark my words. So good for this guy, and I wish him the best.